Once upon a time, on a long journey to the North Pole, a captain and his crew came across a struggling man and his creature.
What's your name?
My name is Victor Frankenstein, and who are you, and where are you traveling?
I am Captain Robert Walton, and we are traveling north. What is your purpose?
Let me tell you my story. After my mother, Caroline's sudden death, I was eager to understand the reclamation of human life, as I felt I had let her down by not saving her. As a result, I went to study at Ingolstadt and met two professors, one of which will not speak. With the inspiration of the other, Professor Waldman, coupled with the death of my mother, I was driven to experiment with and discover the secret of life. I began viciously digging up daily the graves of the deceased and harvesting their bodies in effort to create my own creature and change the name of science forever. I shut myself off to the rest of the world as I was engulfed in my work. On a stormy night in my lab, my creation finally came to life. Although I had been working on the creature for years, seeing it being brought to life shocked me to the core. I had never imagined it to be so ugly. I ran into my room and locked myself in hiding under the covers until I awoke the next morning with him looming over my bed. I decided at this moment when I ran away that I would try to escape from the monster forever. In avoiding the monster, I came across my childhood friend Clerval. Upon bringing him back to my house, I became ill with fear. Lucky, he was such a nice fellow and nursed me back to health. Once being returned to good health, I received a letter from Elizabeth.
My dear brother, we are concerned with your illness and wish for you to write to us in your own handwriting soon. Justine has just moved in with us, and we hope for you to return to Geneva.
Upon getting this letter, I made up my mind to return to Geneva. After deciding, I received another letter, this time from my father, that gave me news of the death of my brother William. Returning very late to Geneva, the gates were locked, so I decided to wander around. I saw the monster wandering and was so confused that he may be responsible for the death of my brother. Instead, however, Justine was tried and killed for the death, although I'm convinced of her innocence. After the trial, my family and I went on vacation to clear our heads. There, I ran into the monster.
Hello, Victor. You may recognize me as the monster you created many nights ago. I have wandered this earth without any guidance and without any love. Each time I tried to find a companion, I was rejected and brutally attacked. Though I was not physically harmed, my soul was battered and I became bitter. I found a family, the de Lacys, with whom I became obsessed. I visited their house every day and learned of their life story. Listening to them, I learned to speak gracefully, and I learned about the history of the earth. I convinced myself that I could gain their love and affection and set out to do so. I attempted to befriend their blind father, who could not judge me on my appearance. However, when the rest of the family returned, they were horrified by me and fled. I never saw them again. Since everyone regarded me as a horrible monster, I have acted as one. As my creator, it is your duty to provide me with a mate who will love me unconditionally.
I reluctantly agreed with Monster's request and began working on creating a mate. As time passed, I regretted my decision and delayed the project as best as I could. I traveled to Europe under the guise of needing more research to complete the project. I confronted the monster and explained my worries to him. I told him that I could no longer make him a mate.
Curse you, Victor! How dare you go back on your promise? When your wedding day finally arrives, be prepared for a visit from me.
Soon, after my confrontation with the horrible monster, my dearest friend, Henry Clerval, was found dead. While grieving his loss, my father arrived in Europe to take me back to Geneva. Back home, me and Elizabeth finally wed. The night of the wedding, I was worried that the monster's promise would come true and tried to protect as best as I could. While we apart, I heard a scream and returned to find her dead, realizing the monster was going after her, not me. My father died from shock a few days later. This is when I decided to devote my life to finding and killing the monster.
When Victor finished telling me his story, he died abruptly. We placed Victor's body in an isolated room. I walked into that room one day to see the monster standing over his creator's body, crying. I spoke to the monster.
Now that my creator has died, I too may end my suffering.
The monster left the ship, walked onto the ice, and died.